Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Stand back for your own safety.
Steve, what's up?
Congrats on the win.
Thanks, Steve. Where Paulie at?
Here we go.
I'm checking out. I will respond to you, but I'm done for the week. I'm done.
Steve is my favorite part of the show. How's that?
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Check for sound.
Pleasure to be on there talking with Paulie, man. He's a good dude.
I'm an idiot. I'll just shut up and let you talk. I was trying to help.
And shout out to Tupac.
3, 2, 1, and
This is Orange Nation.
Well, hello, Paulie and Steve.
With Stephen Fonte and Paulie Sibilia.
Check it out. Welcome into Orange Nation. No Steve today. Tim Leonard in his place. Steve is out on assignment. I didn't come up with an idea of where he is.
That's right. Last year he was covering the war or something.
He's in the Strait of Hormuz today. How's that? He's out covering the Strait of Hormuz. He's counting mines.
I'm excited for his recap tomorrow. Yeah. That'll be quite the deep dive.
So that's where he is. Lots to cover today. We got Syracuse lacrosse. Anybody better to talk to about that than Tim Leonard, the voice of lacrosse. And it's a McAllister Monday, so you two can nerd it up over lacrosse also, and I can take a nap.
Yeah, McAllister Monday on a Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
short week for you. Only 4 days this week, Paulie.
Yeah, did you do anything this weekend?
Well, I had to go to Plan B, of course, because Syracuse lost. So I returned Saturday, and then I had a pretty nice Memorial Day weekend after that. I played some golf yesterday when the weather finally got nice and felt a little bit like it should on Memorial Day.
Yeah, I didn't do anything. I walked the Parkway, had some hamburgers. That's about it.
You saw the Star Wars movie, right?
Oh, yeah, I saw Mandalorian. I'll give you the review of that at the 45.
Okay, I'm really excited.
I went without Brent. Hope he's not
Well, he was busy. He's down in Charlottesville.
He's not upset with me, but yeah. I kind of gave him a breakdown of it. Did I dress up for the movie? People want to know. I didn't. I just wore a T-shirt. Thank you. Tim, lacrosse, disappointing way to end the season. Disappointing end to what was a great class of kids at Syracuse. Yeah. And, what went wrong against Notre Dame?
Well, I think the special teams decided the game. When I say that, I mean the man-up and man-down units, because Syracuse got 3 minutes of unreleasable penalties in the first half when Notre Dame, who is typically a disciplined team and was very undisciplined all weekend, had 2 penalties for contact to the head. Syracuse had 3 minutes basically to score on the man up. In that time, you're hoping to get maybe 2 or 3 goals. They got 0 out of it. They had a bad turnover on the first man up sequence, and they also got some good looks, and their goalie, Richard Deli for Notre Dame, made some really good saves. And then, of course, when the Orange cut it to a 2-goal game, they go on a 3-goal run to end the third quarter. They're kind of rolling there. It's 9-7. A freshman, Louis D'Agostino, makes a bad play at a bad time, a freshman mistake, and when Syracuse was undisciplined, Notre Dame capitalized, and they started the fourth quarter scoring 3 straight man-up goals in a 2-minute unreleasable penalty situation, and that was too big of a mountain to climb back. So really, when you look at the stats, the game was pretty even, but the special teams decided it, and Syracuse on the man-up did not score in the final 2 games of the year. They were 0 for 11, which is surprising because they have been a pretty good man-up team year in and year out under Gary Gait. And actually, Notre Dame's man-down unit came into the Final Four pretty underwhelming statistically, and they must have changed some things. And obviously, their goalie playing well helped, but they got really good man-down play, which kind of swung the game.
the special teams play basically the equivalent of, not being able to hit with runners in scoring position.
Think about it in hockey, power play, right? Sometimes you see that where some teams are really good, but they're just not taking advantage of the power play enough. And I mean, Notre Dame was 5 for 6 on the man up. Syracuse was 0 for 5. So they lost the game, and in the end, the score looks very lopsided. But I would say that if Syracuse got typical man-up play and if Notre Dame was a little bit more typical, then we would be looking at a close game. And some of it was Syracuse, like I said, they got the looks they wanted, but they didn't cash in those looks. There was one man-up opportunity in the first half that really stands out where Luke Roa got a step-down shot from straight away, and he is your best stretch shooter. He's tremendous in that spot on the man-up. And Richard Daly made an unbelievable save on a bounce shot where he seemingly was sort of caught in the wrong spot. And that was just kind of the tail of the game, honestly, is the special teams play. There's definitely some things you could critique. And I think another thing that stands out when you watch those two teams play, which Notre Dame beat them in the regular season, pulling away in the fourth quarter. They beat them in this Final Four game, pulling away in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame has a lot more depth up and down their roster, and Syracuse was relying a ton on their stars, relying a ton on their first midfields. And, they're not going to win many games against top-level teams if Joey Spallina and Michael Leo don't score a goal. And they both had off shooting days. Spallina got to his spots a little bit. He did have 2 assists. He was going against the top defensive guy in the country. He just didn't shoot it that well. And Richard Daly was very good in cage. And then Michael Leo, honestly, just did not play a good game. And he got some looks that he normally finishes, and he didn't even hit the cage on a couple wide open shots. So all year, I think we were pretty consistent when we talked about them. And when I came on here after games, I was a little bit concerned about the offensive pieces and how deep they were offensively. And there were games where it felt like if their stars, say Leo had an off game or Spallina had an off game or Roa had an off game, they just didn't have enough ancillary pieces to make up for that. And you look at the final box score of this game, Notre Dame, 10 different goal scorers. Syracuse had 3 different goal scorers, and only 4 different players scored a point in the game. Finn Thompson had 4 goals, Luke Roa had 2, Peyton Anderson had 1, and Joey Spallina had 2 assists. So just 4 different point getters. You're not going to win any games in the Final Four with that type of production.
All right, Tim. It only took about 7 minutes, even less than that, because it's been up on the chat for longer. How is Gary Gate on the hot seat?
No. It's just ridiculous that, and I'm sure we'll get, if you want to call in today and discuss that, feel free at 437-7644. I just think you're missing the bigger picture if you're talking about Gary Gate being the problem here, because we've been talking about it throughout the second half of the season quite a bit, and Gary said this publicly on the lacrosse radio show I do with him throughout the regular season, or the end of the regular season, which is Thursday nights on TK and on Learfield. He said that they only have 12.6 scholarships this year. A lot of teams have upped their game in the scholarship category. UNC, he mentioned, had 28 scholarships. And the notion that Syracuse is the most talented team of the bunch and Gary Gate and the coaching staff are holding them back is just so far from the truth that I don't know how it started, and I don't know why it has taken on a life of its own. And it's frustrating for me to see that, because I feel like I cover the sport very closely and I watch a lot of these other games, and I just feel that Syracuse has a bigger microscope on their program. And when I talked to a bunch of people this weekend that cover the sport nationally, no one is saying, oh, Syracuse just has to avoid shooting themselves in the foot if they want to win this game against Notre Dame. They were 2.5 goal underdogs in the game against Notre Dame. They lost to them in the regular season. They just don't have as many 5-stars, honestly, up and down their roster as the other teams in the ACC. So I actually think their coaching is very strong, and I would argue with anyone that their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator, Pat March on offense and John O'Derna on defense, are 2 of the best in the sport and 2 of the best minds. And I think Gary Gate has done a really good job to just get this program back to the Final Four in back-to-back years, only program to do that. I understand that it really stings right now because Syracuse was right there and they might not be back there for a while, and this was his best class. But the thing they had going for them this year is they had experience more than the other teams. It's not that they had more talent. In any of these years, they haven't been the most talented team. They have very good top-end talent that was experienced this year. But I said it all year, and I just said it again. You're just not going to get Final Four wins if you don't get production from your rope unit, production from your second midfield line. It comes down to the depth pieces more when you get to this stage of the game. And I think Syracuse really was exposed in that area in some of their big games this year.
Michael Antonio says, parity or not, Syracuse should be at the level of winning at least one title every 5 years. You can argue they were at that level the past 2 years. They made the Final Four.
Yeah.
You're at the level of winning at that point.
Yeah, and it didn't work out. And this senior class, I'm sure, is really bummed today thinking about how they did not get to the mountaintop of the sport. But you could say that about UNC, parity or not. UNC has 28 scholarships. They should be there every single year. They haven't won a national title in a little bit since 2016. And that's what I'm getting at is if you think that Syracuse has all the advantages and Syracuse is the biggest brand and therefore they just roll the balls out and they're going to be way more talented than everyone, you're living in the past too much. This is a different world in college lacrosse right now where scholarships really matter. NIL is playing a factor to some extent, but I think the biggest thing is Syracuse needs to up their game from a scholarship perspective, and we'll see if they will do that. And it's not what it used to be where there's only 5 or 6 teams that can win it every year. Getting to the Final Four is very challenging. I think Syracuse outcoached UNC incredibly in the quarterfinal game to get there. And I think Notre Dame, they have a great coaching staff and they have a really talented top-to-bottom roster that is way more athletic than Syracuse. And when you watch these two teams play, I just don't know how anyone could think that Syracuse is head and shoulders more talented than the other teams that we saw this weekend in the Final Four.
You know, and I think other people see Virginia, what happened there, and their coach getting fired. That wasn't because of his coaching, though. It's starting to look like it was more of behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah, there's so many rumors there, and I think the long story short there is probably the culture wasn't in a great spot, and there's all this stuff coming out this weekend that Lars Tiffany had agreed to a contract extension. He thought, the school saying he didn't. They're in dispute over money. They just hired the associate head coach, Kevin Cassis. Very weird to see. It's almost like when the Bills fired their coach and then elevated the associate, and we were talking about how random or weird that is to see that. So you look at Virginia and their recruiting classes, and I broke it down a little bit, just going through 5 stars of the last 6 classes. I jotted down all the ACC teams here, plus the team, Princeton, that won the national championship. Last 6 classes, so 2022 onward through 2027, there are already some recruits, basically juniors, that are starting to commit in that class. And Syracuse had 5 5-stars in their 2022 recruiting class. That was the senior year group this year. That was the number 1 recruiting class in the country. Since then, last 5 years, they have added 1 5-star in each class. So that's 10 total over your last 6 classes. Virginia has 14 5-stars during that time period. Notre Dame has 15 5-stars. Duke 17, UNC 18. Now, some people are then going to argue, well, why isn't the recruiting better? It's Gary Gate. He was brought in to be the recruiter. That comes down to scholarships. I think that's what we're seeing. And I really think that if you get the right kid into Syracuse, they're all staying. They're all really appreciating the culture. They all rave about the coaches. I mean, find me one time where we've asked a player on these airwaves or on the pregame show that I do or something like that where I haven't asked an offensive player, what do you think of Pat March, and they don't start raving about him, or a defensive player, what do you think of John O'Derna, and they don't start raving. And they all love playing for Gary Gate, but they got to up their scholarship kit. Honestly, that's the biggest thing.
All right, that's our opening drive brought to you by Burdick BMW of Cicero and Burdick Toyota.
Well done, Paulie.
Thank you. Well done by you, because I wouldn't have known how to fill 12 minutes of lacrosse content.
Someone says, Tim, are you paid by the word? I think we were in agreement here. I was just going to vent about lacrosse, and you were going to sit back seat.
Yeah.
But
next, we'll talk about other things, like the national championship game, which I tried to watch, and it wasn't fun. I felt bad for the Notre Dame goalie yesterday, too. We'll get into that next. on ESPN Radio Syracuse. Utica Rome, QSportsTalk.com.
Catch Sunday Night Baseball every Sunday night at 6:30 on ESPN Radio Syracuse.
Stop the amount of scholarships?
Compact
Yeah, why
yet
would that
mighty,
be on
the
game?
versatile
No, the school's
BMW
got it.
X1
Yeah.
SUV packs a lot of
I think he
power
was
and
saying, like,
personality in a
recruiting
compact
stuff.
body and leads with advanced technology. Burdick BMW
CBS
has a big
predicts football
selection of
16 of
inventory
18
on site with
picks.
plenty more to come. Lease the 2026 BMW X1 xDrive 28i at Burdick BMW for only $499
Seeing how
per
much
month for 39 months with
You guys talking
$43.29
about how
due at
much the
signing.
coach
Cash
helps,
down
sorry.
includes
You guys talking about how much the coaches make made me want to jump out of my window.
Yeah.
Ryan in Virginia wants to talk Cuse football.
Let's do it.
Oh, I missed you guys. I really missed you. You're all so perfect. So how long have I been in my apartment now? January, February, March. 4 months. 4 months. This is going to be my fifth. So I decided it's rainy and crappy. I would do some nook and cranny cleaning. And ugh, I was up on a ladder cleaning the windows and stuff. And the amount of, when I moved in, they must not have cleaned very well. Moved the refrigerator. Blarf. No procreation in Pound Town.
I'm sorry to hear that. You didn't pick up a girl at the Mandalorian movie?
I went with a girl, but
Oh, wow.
I knew she was a Star Wars nerd, so just a friend.
No squirrels, Mike says.
Mikey, would you have gone to see Mandalorian with me? I would have asked you. I just didn't. I don't think of you ever.
You're not in my brain.
Yeah, I don't ever think of you. Ah, sorry, man. It was good. It was fun. It was just, it's not Star Wars. If you like monsters and explosions, it's a lot of fun. So
His review is coming at 12:45 in more detail, apparently.
no spoilers, though.
Yeah.
You're played out, Michael Antonio. I'll block you for that. You've crossed the line. You want him. Why, by the way, someone said we should have Brian fill in when I'm not here, or Steve's not here. Why the hell would we have both of us out? It's the stupidest take I ever heard.
Steve's back tomorrow.
You'll all survive one day. And if you don't, I won't cry.
Well, someone said that Steve's not allowed to talk lacrosse anyway. So
That's right. Mike likes Dungeons and Dragons? Well, he knows where to do it. Gaper's in my apartment right now. He's the one that told me I needed to clean above my window. Hey, your windows are a little dirty. No, we went to the movie tavern. Those seats are really comfortable, though. And afterwards, I went shopping for my aunt. Watched some Padres games. Their offense is terrible. They had bases loaded and nobody out in the first inning. Couldn't score. So if you think I struggle scoring, I'm just like my favorite baseball team. I wasn't really lonely this weekend. I went to the movie with a friend. I hung out with my family. I cleaned my house. With
actually, someone said, did you text Red this weekend? Red was hanging with the Syracuse athletic department on Friday at because it was down in Charlottesville.
Yeah, that's what I said. Did you text Red this weekend? I said I wasn't really that lonely. I was with family and friends all weekend.
But yeah, I didn't get to see him, unfortunately, but I guess he's doing well.
Just regular bumps today.
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com.
This is Orange Nation.
Just regular bumps on Orange Nation today. No artist of the day. We'll do Luke Combs tomorrow as picked by Buddy Boeheim in the second time in, 2 weeks? We've had him selected.
Yeah.
But I figured Steve sent me 7 songs, but I figured I'd let Steve enjoy them. I'm not a jerk. I would like him to.
Did you ask Buddy? You didn't, actually. I watched back then. You didn't ask him, what songs do you think Luke Combs is most known for? You should have just...
No, it was
that whole conversation we were having. You had a Luke Combs fan on to ask him.
I'm done with Luke Combs. As far as I'm concerned, he'll never be artist of the day again.
Well, you might actually throw a perfect game today or a no-hitter.
I can't screw it up except for at the top of the hour when there's snow.
Yeah, you got one thing to do.
Let's go to Ryan in Virginia. Ryan, what's up?
Paul, you said you might be sick of Luke Combs, but hey, if there's ever a time for Lil Baby, The Baby, 21 Savage, 42 Doug, 50 Cent, maybe the time is now. What do you think, Paulie?
I knew one of those artists.
50 Cent.
Yeah. He's right at the end of my musical knowledge.
Yeah.
What do you think of football-wise?
Yeah, youth football. Yeah, I'm honestly not much of a lacrosse guy, but I did see they made the Final Four. But, Bill Parcells once said you are what your record says you are. And I'm just thinking the current state of Syracuse football and, long-term trajectory, not just looking at the micro, but looking at the macro. And Dino's last 3 years, their record was 500 the last 3 years. Fran Brown in his 2 years is 500. I get last year, you can say, injuries, bad luck, yada, yada. But whatever, on that side of the coin that there was bad luck last year, there was good luck the year before, winning a lot of close games. So, again, as Parcells and others would say, you are what your record says you are. So my question is, he's gone 500 in 2 years. They fired Dino essentially for going 500. What do you think the expectation is with a new athletic director, new chancellor, for the football program going forward, and how many years? And just curious your thoughts on all that.
I think being in a bowl game every year is a legitimate goal for the football team, and if you had to ask me to pick what year I think is easier to replicate or more likely to be replicated of Fran Brown's, it would be his second year this year than the first one. And if you look back on that first year, that team was really good, and they lost to Stanford and BC, and that's a whole different ballgame if you could somehow win those. But yeah, I think they'll be around 500 this year, and you just got to let a program grow. It's only a second year. I think he's probably got 4 or 5 years to figure it out.
Yeah, I would say in addition to that, with Kurt Cignetti being the ultimate example, you can rebuild a team incredibly quick in the era of the transfer portal. I don't think it's that old mentality of, you got to give a coach 4 years. I think you used to be able to do that, but with now, every year.
Indiana has a disgusting amount of money.
Yeah.
Right. They do. But I think it's realistic for Hughes to essentially have that same target that Wild Hack mentioned, the 7 wins or maybe 8 wins. So I'm just curious if 500, like you said, a bowl game, that would be. I'm wondering if that's going to be enough for this new administration.
I don't think the goals changed much. If it gets to 24, you're probably going to want to make the playoff once or twice every 5-6 years.
Which is about what they would have done. Yeah. I mean, they would have made the playoff twice since 2018. So what is that? 8 years, I guess, basically. I think that's going to be interesting once we get to a 24-team playoff, because it just feels like we're heading that way, and we can get into that more as the show continues. Once we get to that point, then it might be like, all right, can your big years, your high ceiling years be playoff years, which Fran Brown has already done that in 1 of 2 years. If there was a 24-team playoff, they would have made it 2 years ago.
Yeah, and can you keep your big guys? And he's done that with Angeli. He's got to be able to keep his guys, which comes down to money. And if he needs to fill spots, it's going to be money. So I don't think it's as easy as saying, look at Indiana.
No. That's like saying, look at Louisville basketball.
Yeah.
They immediately rebuilt. Well, we all were saying when Syracuse gets the right coach in here, then all of a sudden, it's the NIL conversation that we've been having for years. And I think Jerry McNamara's roster is pretty good next year and pretty comparable to what they had last year. But I feel like I'm also in the minority in saying that. And there were plenty of people that thought, well, it's as simple as you get the new coach and then Syracuse will have boosters and donors that will be giving them 20, 25. Like, that's not happening here. And I think, if anything, Jerry is the perfect coach for NIL, and I do think they've raised their money, but the market's going crazy, and comparing Syracuse football to Indiana or Syracuse basketball to Louisville is just not even worth talking about.
Yeah, and it's funny, we talk about the amount of money that they need, and Vinny Lobdell and J.J. Lane Holmes are doing that Mac and Mello
Summer Slam
thing, and people were complaining about the cost of getting in, the admission price. Well, yeah, that's how you got to make money. It's not for the $5. There's no $5 seats at that. You've got to get the money up, and it's a good thing that there's people out doing that now. So let's take another time out. When we come back, Mike McAllister joins us. He knows the recruiting. He knows the lacrosse. We'll get his take on things. So,
yeah, let's do it. Mike McAllister.
He knows Syracuse sports. They just had a track athlete, I believe, put them in their top 4.
Should we ask him about that?
Yeah,
Should we put him on the spot?
A New York track athlete.
I do think Mike McAllister would summon an answer for pretty much anything Syracuse sports related. I don't know if there's anything we could throw at him and he would not be well versed on it.
All right, we'll take a time out. We'll come back. It's ESPN Radio Syracuse, Utica Rome, and QSportsTalk.com.
Evan Canty and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
There are very few players in the history of the NBA that we would say.
I just pulled up this list. 2026 college football Power 4 coaches ranked 68 to 26.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. That's where we're at. And all of those guys, the top 10 players.
If only winners get watched, Graham Brown was a lot dirtier in 2025 than 2024.
Unsportsmanlike.
Oh, shut up, guys. Sorry, I took a drink. I took a drink of my drink. Go back and watch the tape. Oh, that's a tough one.
What?
F. Mary Kill, Susan Summers, Lonnie Anderson, and Linda Carter. You don't know any of them.
No. Those could have been 3 made-up names.
F
for
would
all
be
I know.
Lonnie Anderson. She seems fun. Mary Linda Carter, kill Suzanne Summers. Suzanne Summers could fight back, though, with her thigh master thighs. You know what I've been watching a lot lately because I'm a nerd is AI versions of things that happened in Star Wars that weren't in the movies. They're really fun. They're all dead, aren't they? Suzanne Summers is definitely dead. Lonnie Anderson's probably dead. I don't know if Linda Carter's dead. Speaking of which, R.I.P. Rob Bass, man, that was sad.
It was what, a football player who's a track star that you were talking about? Sure, I'll ask him about recruiting.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Oh, Linda is still alive.
Yeah, lacrosse lost, so Steve's sick. No, I'm kidding. It was a planned.
I don't need to watch Boogie Nights this week.
We need Steve to be sick on a day when they win something. Maybe this is more of a problem if Syracuse hasn't won enough. Just to dispel that narrative.
I know. I just said I'd marry her. Didn't I say marry her?
I wasn't listening. Those three names
Suzanne Summers.
All new to me.
They're all smoke shows in the 70s, early 80s. I didn't know. I was just thinking about prime, in their prime. Michael Antonio wanted to be lassoed by Wonder Woman. He's got a kink of being tied up, weirdo. They call them fetishes now. I said a kink.
Kink still works. I think we knew what you meant.
Yeah, I didn't leave much to the imagination.
No, you did not.
If you had to be beaten up by a woman, who would it be? Michael Antonio.
I thought you were going to answer that yourself.
No. Ronda Rousey for Govendo.
Fish tickets.
Oh my God, Paula Abdul is my wife. I loved her as a kid.
Didn't you have a poster of her?
Uh-huh. I wasn't ready for the chat to start answering what woman they would like to be.
Well, you kind of did ask that question.
I know, I wasn't ready for it. I thought it was just a hypothetical, like, no one would answer.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com.
This is Orange Nation.
Night and Day. Good one. I'll be sure. You probably don't know who this is.
No. You're saying a lot of names today that I've never heard of in my life.
Yeah, we said Linda Carter, Suzanne Summers, and Lonnie Anderson. Were just all hot chicks in the late 70s, early 80s. You know, and then I'll be sure this was his biggest hit, probably like 87. This was on my mixtape for the ladies in high school.
Yeah, you've really gotten the chat going on a topic that we can't really discuss on air, which is one of your specialties, and I think we just need to go to Mike McAllister. I'm looking down at the chat and seeing all kinds of wild takes.
I was shocked they answered. So. All right, let's go to Mike. Mike, how are you today, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Let's just start with your thoughts on the lacrosse season, a recap.
I mean, it's one of those that's kind of complex to review, right? In one sense, getting back to championship weekend, back-to-back seasons, I think is a notable accomplishment. On the other hand, the senior class that was the number one recruiting class in the country when they came in, they made it known that it was national championship or bust as far as, their careers go, and they didn't achieve that. So ultimately, it's a good year, not a great year. Disappointing in the way that it ended because it felt like that was a game where there were ample opportunities to jump at, take control of the game, especially after you battle back from being down 4-0. You make it 4-3. You have that unreleasable situation that you don't capitalize on, and then you end up committing a stupid penalty that results in an unreleasable situation for Notre Dame. They score 3 goals on it. That kind of was the difference in the game to me. And it's unfortunate because I think they were a better matchup, would have been a better championship matchup in the finale against Princeton than what Notre Dame was. But I think the legacy of the seniors, getting back to that, will ultimately be determined by what happens over the next 3 to 5 years. If Syracuse capitalizes on this and does end up getting over the hump and getting back to a national championship in that time frame, then this senior class could be viewed as the team that set the foundation to get Syracuse back to that level. If they don't, and this becomes the peak, and there's some years where they don't get back to championship weekend over the next few, I think it'll be viewed much differently.
Yeah, Mike, you hit on the unreleasable penalties, and I really think that's sort of what decided this game as you were laying out. I think from where I sit and calling all the games this year and watching a lot of college lacrosse around the country, the fan base really gets upset at the undisciplined play and the turnovers. I think the one thing to critique the most is the undisciplined play, and that penalty at the end of the game or at the end of the third quarter from Louis D'Agostino is the penalty that stands out in this particular game. Notre Dame had some undisciplined play, which was abnormal for them, and they didn't take advantage of that. I do think the turnover side of things is overblown, and they only had 11 turnovers in this game. So, I don't know, where do you sit on the disciplined play, the turnovers, the things that they need to clean up to win a national championship?
It's a double-edged sword a little bit, because part of what Gary Gait wants and what attracts some players to him is that he gives players the freedom to try things like behind-the-back passes and behind-the-back shots and, some of those fancier things. Now, I think that there needs to be a level of understanding when to do those things, when not to do those things. But at the same time, that's, I think, part of what Gary Gait wants the identity of Syracuse lacrosse to be. So
right.
He's not going to stop some of that, but at the same time, that's a very small percentage of what the turnovers are. To me, I think the biggest concern is usually when they're trying to clear and it's a bad pass that's not forced, right? Turnovers are going to happen. It is what it is. As you mentioned, they only had 11 in this game against Notre Dame. That wasn't the biggest issue to me in that game. And they were able to, despite a lot of turnovers, beat North Carolina, the game before. So, it's certainly one of those things. I think if you're a coaching staff and you're a fan, like, you want to see them clean up. But at the same time, I'm not sure that's what's cost them winning a national championship the last 2 years. So there's a little bit of both sides to it.
Yeah, I think that Finn Thompson turnover on the 2-minute unreleasable man-up situation they had in the first half is a perfect example of what we're talking about. He goes behind his back trying to fit it into the high crease, and it looks really bad when Syracuse has a turnover of that variety. But then the thing that I always bring up when we have this conversation is you go back to the Harvard first-round game last year, this epic come-from-behind win in the Dome. They're on the man up. There's 3 minutes left. It's a tie game, and it's Owen Hiltz going behind his back on a pass to Michael Leo to set up the go-ahead goal. And no one is saying, why did he go behind his back there? So it's a part of the fabric of the program, and it's such a tight line to balance where Gary says he wants those guys to do it in the game if they're comfortable doing it in practice, and they show they can do it in practice. And we know all these guys can execute the behind-the-back passes and the flare type of plays. But when they don't execute them, it just looks really bad, and it leads to us, I think, going crazy over the turnover number a little bit more.
Yeah, and see, to me, that's a perfect example of there's a time and a place, and being smart about it and understanding when is the right time for that. And trying to fit in a behind-the-back pass into a tight window when you have an unreleasable situation and the smarter, more disciplined play is the better option at that point. It's those types of things. I think looking at just like raw numbers and things like that, you can get kind of bogged down in that. I just think, and sometimes it's a player decision, right? Because Gary Gait wants to, as we mentioned, give them that freedom to do things like that. But sometimes players have to be accountable for just making a boneheaded decision in a given instance, even if, the coach is encouraging that overall as a larger part of the fabric of the program, as you mentioned. So I think there's accountability on all sides for stuff like that, but that turnover was a huge momentum killer when it felt like Syracuse was in a good spot to take complete control of that game. And I think ultimately, as the game kind of progressed from that point, it felt like they never were able to really get that momentum back.
Mike, I'm sure you get tweets like I do that say they got to fire Gary Gait, they got to get rid of him. And
I do.
There's that portion of the fan base, which it's tough to even talk to those type of fans because that's not a realistic outcome after what we've seen in his first 5 seasons here, and especially the last 2 years getting to the Final Four. But how much do you think the conversation, I guess another way to phrase my question, how would you just evaluate Gary Gait here through 5 years and the job he's done to this point?
I think it's fair to say that he's done a good job turning them around and getting them back to a nationally relevant national championship contending program. Whether or not they get over that hump, that I think ultimately will be what the legacy of Gary Gaeta as a head coach is. Because if they go the next 5 years and don't get a national championship in that window and maybe only make a couple of Final Fours, take a couple of steps back at certain seasons, then I think it's fair to question whether or not, that's the right direction to continue moving, or whether you need to make a change to get back over that hump. I had a lot of people tell me, after that game, Syracuse, if they're serious about winning a national championship, should go get Tierney that got fired from Virginia.
Lars Tiffany.
And bring him in to replace Gary Gate. And I just, Tiffany, yeah, I don't subscribe to that. I think if you have a guy that comes in when your program's kind of been lethargic, you hadn't won a tournament game in how many years, you hadn't been to a championship weekend in how many years, he turns you around within a year or two, gets you the number one recruiting class in the country, still attracts talent, gets you back to championship weekend, back-to-back years, winning tournament games several years in a row. He's done a good job turning the program around. The next step, I think, is how you evaluate him going forward. I think it's fair to give him a good grade at this juncture, and then we'll see ultimately what his legacy is over the next handful of seasons. If they get back to a title, then I think his 10 years is a success. If they don't, then I think you have to evaluate things and see whether or not it's time to move on.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. For any fan that is complaining about turnovers and clearing, and that same fan is saying probably hire Lars Tiffany, you could go look at their first-round game and how poorly they were executing and clearing and turnovers, and that should really put an end to that conversation, in my opinion. But let's move on to basketball, Mike, and we have not chatted with you since the official announcement of Iker Martinez as a depth center from Mexico, international player they have added to the roster. What are your thoughts on this pickup and kind of his strengths and weaknesses as a player?
Seems like he's an athletic kid that's got some potential on the offensive end, and has done a pretty good job at the high school level and prep level, rebounding and blocking shots. I think the intriguing thing about him, from talking to a couple of his former coaches, is that offensively, he's got a hook shot, he's got a mid-range jumper that he's continuing to work on, and so it feels like within a couple of years, if he continues to develop and has that same trajectory, he could be someone who's a pretty good contributor for you. I'm not sure that anyone's expecting anything from him right away. That remains to be seen on what he looks like when he gets here, but at the same time, we got this whole question with international players, right, with what the NCAA has mentioned, and the fact that Martinez has been here, has played high school ball here and AAU ball here, as opposed to, if you look at Sibby as an example, who played in a professional league overseas. What if his eligibility is in doubt because of what the NCAA is talking about with international prospects? And so now all of a sudden you've only got the two centers. Bring in Martinez gives you a little bit of depth there and gives you some cushion in case something like that does happen. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, what do you make of the international eligibility thing that came out last week, and how much that would just shake up college basketball if that rule is put into place?
It feels like the NCAA is sort of overreacting to the fact that people have been irritated with players that are 24, 25 years old, have been out of college basketball and in the G League or played NBA games, and they're signing with college teams. It feels like they've said, okay, well, in order to do this, we're going to just make everyone who's played in every type of a league ineligible. And I think it's a little bit of overkill by the NCAA, but that's kind of what they do, is they kind of grasp on certain things and then just go way overboard with it, as opposed to doing something that makes some sense and that people can get behind, and et cetera. I also think, even though, the stuff with some of those G League and former NBA players is frustrating and irritating and upsets a lot of people, I still don't think that's the number one issue facing college basketball or facing college athletics in general. I think it's getting a hold of this NIL situation and trying to make it less of the wild, wild west and free agency every single year with the transfer portal, and trying to put something together that makes sense and sort of, calms some of that down to some extent. and they don't seem to have any interest in doing that. So it's always interesting to me what the NCAA decides that they want to harp on in a given moment and how much they do so with some of these things. But ultimately, I don't have much of an issue with a kid who's playing internationally that's played in a professional league over there, but is 18, 19, 20 years old coming over here to play college ball for a couple of years, whereas that feels to me a lot different than someone who's 23, 24, has played a handful of games in the NBA, and now is signing with a random college team. To me, it feels different, especially because high school basketball overseas internationally isn't really what those players do. They go into these professional developmental leagues, and that's just kind of the way things work over there.
Mike McAllister with us right now, Syracuse on 247sports.com if you want to read his work, and you can follow him on Twitter as well. Mike, do you think the roster is done now after the Martinez ad?
I'd say probably. There's still the potential that if the international thing ends up meaning that City and Triple M, 3M, whatever you want to call them, if they are not eligible because of this, I could see Syracuse looking for a small forward, a wing type that can shoot. I kind of keep thinking about that kid from D2 that they had been rumored to have contacted. It wouldn't surprise me if they tried to find someone that could fill his roster spot, but otherwise, I don't think you're going to see someone like all of a sudden they're going to get this scoring point guard who you go, oh wow, that guy's definitely the starting point guard. What an amazing find! And I don't think you're going to see anything like that, especially because I'm expecting that Tobiason's probably going to be the primary point guard next year. I think that's kind of been the plan. So. I think the roster is largely set, barring that international situation, and then deciding that they want to fill those couple of roster spots with a couple of players.
So you think they start Garway Dual, but it's Aiden Tobiason who's bringing the ball up and initiating that type of stuff?
I think they could sort of both spend time doing that. I don't think just because Garway Dual is starting and because his strength is on the defensive end that means when he's in the game he's not going to bring the ball up. But I think there's also times when he is in the game when you could have Tobiason bring the ball up. The thing is, Garway Dual is not an off-the-ball type of player offensively. When he's making an impact offensively, it's having the ball in his hand, attacking a guy off the dribble, getting into the lane, and either finishing at the rim, which he's decent at doing, or finding a teammate for an open shot. So having him off the ball, given that he's not a great outside shooter, I don't think that helps you much because he's not going to put any pressure on the defense. They're not going to respect his outside shot. So I think if he's in the game, your best bet in terms of putting pressure on the opposing defense is having him with the ball in his hands and trying to put some pressure on people, having some off-ball movement with the ball in his hands.
All right, Mike, before we let you go, any thoughts on football? It seems like it's going to be a big recruiting weekend coming up. Any visitors we should know about or battles for recruiting right now that are going on?
Yeah, the first of about 3 to 4 weekends that are going to be significantly impactful to how Syracuse's 2027 class shapes out. They got a bunch of these like mid to high 3-star players that are visiting this weekend. The 4-stars they have are coming in a couple of weeks, so you just kind of want to keep an eye on making sure that those players don't commit elsewhere on their official visits. But the one that I'll make note of that's coming to visit this weekend is Elijah Kimball. He's a running back out of the Buffalo area, and he's the number 1 ranked recruit in New York State. He's had schools like Miami and Ohio State, and he already took an official visit to Indiana in April. So he's had some big time teams after him, and Syracuse is getting him on campus this weekend. It sounds like the Miami option may have dried up because I'm not sure they're going to take another running back this class, but certainly if you're Syracuse, getting a guy with that kind of offer list that's got several teams that were in the playoff last year, several teams that have a lot of NIL type resources, and then the defending national champions. If you can land that guy as number 1 player in your state, that certainly sends a message.
All right, Mike, we appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Mike McAllister, our guy, CuseNation.com.
I was doing a deep dive on that ruling of the international players. It doesn't seem like Syracuse would be in much danger of anybody getting caught up in that because it's for players basically that were making more than living expenses overseas. So if you get a guy who is making $200,000 a year overseas, he probably isn't eligible, whereas a kid who's in one of the under 18 leagues making $1,000 a month, he will be eligible.
Yeah, I wonder what Will Wade is thinking right now, considering where he is at with his roster and his plan of action as a lot of international guys. I can't really wrap my head around how they could execute that eligibility this year, considering how many teams have starters that they were banking on to be from a league that is a very good league internationally.
Like the UVA kid probably wouldn't be eligible.
St. John's point guard comes to mind. There's tons.
Yeah.
Way too many, I think, on good teams.
At the league that Sibby was in, and he's probably making $1,000 to $2,000, you know.
Okay.
And
I wouldn't know, but
I just Googled it.
Yeah.
Living expenses is basically. So I don't think he's the problem. I think they're just trying to get that 5-for-5 rule for the international guys too. Like if you're 25, you can't play college basketball anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, I do think that they're looking at some teams like LSU or...
What LSU is doing is gross.
It's disgusting, yeah. And it hopefully will not work because if it does work, it just means that we're in a bad spot in college basketball, really. So...
All right, we'll take a time out. We'll come back. I'll give you a Mandalorian review and a couple other things. Yeah, it's very exciting. It's ESPN Radio Syracuse, Utica Rome, and it's QSportsTalk.com. Forgot the last one there. All right, I fixed that too.
Oh, you're good. Perfect game.
Oh, that's a tough one too.
What's that?
I probably would kill Britney Spears.
I could play that one.
Because Britney Spears would probably kill me. You see that thing where she got caught? She got busted for DUI the other day.
No.
She invited the cops back to her house for lasagna.
To try and get out of it?
I don't know. She's just weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I would stay away from Britney, I think. Michael Antoni, you have to understand the zeitgeist of the Cuse lacrosse situation. The older generations know how great this program truly was, and this version is a shadow of their former glory. Yeah, I feel like I did just explain that for 10 minutes, and I don't really know if I could explain it anymore. I hear you. I mean, they were once dominant as a program, and it used to be that the Final Four, like losing in the Final Four, was a terrible season. I get that, but times have changed, and I don't think blaming Gary Gate or the coaches or saying fire Gate is really I don't think any coach would come in and get the program to the level of 80s and 90s dominance. And, you know, like, if you're saying fire Gary Gate right now, then if they brought in Kevin Corrigan, you'd say fire Kevin Corrigan after they had some undisciplined penalties in the championship game, and Kevin Corrigan couldn't win the big one for years. You'd say fire Lars Tiffany because that's what Virginia's fan base was saying, and it's less than Syracuse. You'd say fire Danowski because he didn't win it with Brennan O'Neill, and they haven't won it in a little bit. You know, you'd say fire every coach, basically. If the standard is like you have to win a national championship every single year, which I guess you're more saying like they should win one every 5 years. And it is a bummer that they didn't get it this year because this is their best chance. But just because it was a way more talented team this year than, say, like 4 or 5 years ago, Syracuse, does not mean that they were the most talented team in the Final Four. They went into the championship weekend with the worst odds of any of the 4 teams left. So, and they have less 5 stars than any of the other teams in championship weekend. Their second midfield line gave them way less production. I mean, I've said it all year that their top end talent is tremendously good. But like Nate Kabiri for Princeton isn't much of a factor in the championship game, and they've got a guy like John Dumphy who can dodge and have one of the best goals of the year, and he's like their 6th or 7th option, or they've got a second midfield line that's scoring. Oh yeah, gotta call Lee.
Come on, nerds.
They know they're probably.
Get your ass. No, they didn't know. Get your act together out there. I'll fire you. I haven't fired anybody in a while.
Am I going to be able to remember the Lee read without it on the paper? And oh, it is on the paper. That's right. That's how Steve remembers every time. All of the diamonds and none of the dogs.
That's a good Stephen Fownie impersonation. If I closed my eyes, it was just like him being here. I did not have a VHS dating tape in the 90s, no. That's not a great way to talk to my employees. Did you know that?
What?
That I'm going to fire you? I wasn't really going to fire them. I was joking. I think they've worked with me long enough to know that I'm not going to fire them. Oh, no. Return of the Mac.
Was that a single you allowed there, or do we just pretend that the no-hitter's still going?
I fought my way through that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I recuperated from that. I fell behind. They were in a hitter's count. And
that was a 12 pitch out, I'd say. Yeah. You got like a warning track shot on the 12th pitch.
All right, let's find out what's going on in the markets with Lee Baldwin. Lee, what's up?
Hey, guys. Hope you had a great weekend, but we're back at it here on Wall Street. Stocks are mixed to begin the week. The Dow's down about 129 points, but the S&P is up over 0.5%. Our diamond goes to, and you can guess it, guys, Micron is up over $130 and is now worth over $1 trillion. That's with a T.
Wow.
Dogs today are Uber and Lyft, both down on the news that Massachusetts approved the first union for rideshare drivers. And there you have it.
All right. Thank you, Lee.
Thanks, Lee. Appreciate it. Lee Baldwin, all the diamonds, none of the dogs. LeeBaldwin.com.
All right. I now I've caused chaos in both chats, Steve. Tim. I said I was going to fire my employees goofing around in the chat. Or in the break.
Yeah.
And now YouTube says, my employees, the ego is out of control. They are my employees. I hired them. I'll fire them.
Yeah, you're really a me guy. The same way you see Gary Gate was wearing a Gate lacrosse hat in the Final Four game. Everyone was like, he's such a me guy.
I am a terror in the office, right? You work for me.
Oh, my God.
I'm a nightmare to work for.
I cry myself to sleep every night. I leave here. I call my friends, my mom. I'm planning an escape every single day.
I'm a nightmare.
It's the worst.
I am an HR nightmare.
How about a little Yankees update before we get your Mandalorian update? Always brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus. Anthony Volpe came through yesterday, Paulie. Did you watch the game at all or see this?
No.
He had a 2-run single in the 9th inning. Volpe, of all players, for the 4-3 win. Go-ahead 2-run single over the Royals. The Yanks won it yesterday. They have won 12 straight against the Royals. Yankees are 32-22 now. Royals are 22-32. And they have got the AL Cy Young frontrunner right now, Cam Slittler, on the mound tonight. He is 6-2, 1.50 ERA. Royals are going to go with a bullpen game tonight.
Did you see the A's lost 2-3 to the Padres? I didn't want to text Steve and rub it in. But
Yeah, they're still in first place, though. So I'd say at 27-27, they're still surprisingly good. I think Steve was onto something.
Here we go. Mandalorian. I'm not going to give any spoilers. This is the way I describe it. If you're a Star Wars nerd expecting Star Wars nerd stuff, you're going to leave disappointed.
Okay.
All right? If you want to go watch a fun movie with cute little Yoda baby in it and monsters fighting and explosions and Star Wars ships, you're going to love it. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Do you have a letter grade or a number grade for it?
Okay, yeah. So if I was 1 out of 5, I would say if you're going for a family movie, there's about 20 minutes of it that's just really boring. I'd give it a C+, B-, that area.
You said 1 out of 5, then you gave a grade.
Yeah.
Okay.
C+, B-. Thumbs up.
3 stars?
If I had to give thumbs, I'd give a thumbs up.
Okay.
3.5 stars, that area.
What was Roger Ebert's system? It wasn't it like
thumbs up or thumbs down?
But was it 2 thumbs, or why did you say 1 thumb?
Because I only have 1. 2 thumbs up was 2 people. They had 2 people doing the reviews. It was Siskel and Ebert.
Oh, I gotcha.
So one would do one. So you could get 1 thumbs up, 1 thumbs down. I also realized that this might be a generational thing too. The trailers for the movies aren't relevant anymore. Like I had seen the trailers already. Like we used to go to the movies and the trailers were like one of the coolest parts of the movie because you got to see what was coming out. But all of the Toy Story one was like I saw it on YouTube already. I saw that Coraline type movie. You know, all of those. It was just
Well, plus a common take now is the trailer game has become so important to get people in the theaters because there's not as many people going to the movies. And they're almost giving away some of the best jokes if it's a comedy in the trailer. Yeah, right? And then it's not as good when you see it in the movie.
Yeah, like when I was a kid, the trailers were cool because you go, oh, yeah, in 4 months, Indiana Jones is coming out. Now, I already know because YouTube is there.
So 3 C pluses out of 5, as Jordan says, is your official review.
Yes, 3 C pluses out of 5. Maybe even a B-. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It's cute. If you got kids, they'd like it.
How about where does it fall in your rankings of Star Wars movies?
I don't even put it in it.
That's not good.
Because it's not really a Star Wars movie. It's just a episode from The Mandalorian, if that makes sense.
Do you watch The Mandalorian, the TV show? Or did you?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
This was basically just an episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I watched a couple of those. The Baby Yoda, like you said. Enjoyable.
Yeah.
In the Mandalorian TV show.
This one is basically, it was just basically whatever season that was coming next was in a movie form. The CGI was awesome. Some of the voiceovers I struggled with. Like, there's Hutts in it, like Jabba the Hutt. You know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and it talking like a teenage kid kind of bugged me. Like, it was speaking English and not like stuff like that. That was my Jabba the Hutt impersonation.
You didn't see Project Hail Mary, did you? Have you heard of this movie at all? I would go see it. That's one of the better movies I've seen in theaters in the last 5 years. We'll see if anyone in the chat has seen it. It was tremendous. I saw that last week.
Yeah, Kevin from Liverpool checked in with me over the weekend to find out if Grogu was Yoda's son, and I had to explain to him, no, he's just the same species. It's like we're humans. Like if there were aliens running around, they'd probably think all humans look alike too.
Right. Yeah, that's actually kind of somewhat the plot of Project Hail Mary. There's some alien stuff going on there. So
okay.
I'm glad that Steve didn't have to witness your Jabba the Hutt impersonation, though. Maybe you'll give it to him tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll save it for him too. I'll do it all week. My daily Jabba the Hutt. Isn't there supposed to be another Spaceballs coming out, or is that a joke? Those trailers.
I think that was a rumor, right?
I saw trailers for it online, but I didn't know if it was just a joke that there was another one of those coming out.
Let's ask ChatGPT.
San Diego Q says Project Hail Mary was awesome this weekend.
Slated for 2027. Spaceballs, the new one.
How the hell is the guy who made those still alive? Or he'll be 101 when that comes out.
Rather than a direct remake, a sequel. What's the difference? This is shit. Mel Brooks and stars returning.
Mel Brooks will be 101 when that comes out.
Well, he is returning as beloved yogurt, according to ChatGPT. Bill Pullman returning.
And I accidentally apparently made the mistake of going to the movie in 3D. Is that not what you're supposed to do anymore?
I don't like 3D movies. Yeah.
Yeah, I apparently made the mistake.
I understand that Star Wars, maybe. I just don't like it.
No, people killed me for going to the 3D. You got to go to the IMAX.
Yeah. IMAX you have to go to. If you're going to go to see a movie in theaters, I always say see it in IMAX because honestly, a lot of these movies just come out on streaming in a couple months anyway. So if you are actually spending money to go to the theater, you might as well get something out of the experience that you can't get on your couch. But that's why I don't really see comedy movies. I only go and see, like, Project Hail Mary is a good example of a movie that I wanted to see in theaters because it's well shot, and if I go in IMAX, it looks cool.
Yeah, and I also love the sound of a theater now. Like streaming movies isn't fun. T takes us like at the movie theater when something happens on the left and you can hear it on the left.
That's fun.
Yeah, I like that. I don't like. Being home is for watching sports. I sat and watched a lot of boring baseball. My Padres are boring,
but they're winning, right?
Now, somehow they've lost 2 in a row, but they have the worst batting average against starting pitching in all of Major League Baseball.
Doesn't seem sustainable.
No. You'd think that somebody would start hitting the ball.
How many games have they analytically won? Did you see Kenny Atkins' comments this weekend?
What the hell was that?
We'll have to play that at some point.
Analytically, they probably won none. They had 2 hits and beat the A's the other night.
Really?
It was bonkers, yeah. So they're not good. It's going to come back and catch them. And now there's talk they're trying to get Aroldis Chapman. Like,
really?
Why the hell do you need a bullpen? Your bullpen's the reason you're winning games.
I guess I should know that. I have been out of touch with the Red Sox this year. They're not giving me much optimism these days.
Is it true that the Force is mid in The Mandalorian? No, Baby Yoda still uses it. I'm not going to give away spoilers. It's used a couple times. Take a time out. We'll come back. We'll talk Knicks and other sporting things on ESPN Radio. It's Syracuse. You can roam at QSportsTalk.com. Do I get blamed for that when sometimes the green button? When the green button doesn't work?
That one's you could have been a little quicker on the exchange.
That's an error, so I got like a no-hitter. My fielding. I did that as a kicker last week, Ryan Mullen. San Diego Cuse, you sound like you're in Stephen Fonnie's tax bracket with that talk. They were booing the Padres yesterday, San Diego Cuse. Manny Machado hit into a double play. I love Manny, but, man, he's got to run out. He jogs to first base every time, and he hit into a double play, and they were booing the hell out of him. When's the last time I saw a movie in San Diego? Probably the 80s.
I mean, how many times have you been to San Diego since you? No, but I mean, since you stopped flying.
Oh, not a lot.
Once or
3
twice?
times.
Oh, wow. So you made that cross-country trip?
Yeah. I went.
Like non-Syracuse related?
No, they were all Syracuse. Like, I went when we played BYU and UNLV. And one time I just went. Is that true, San Diego? I thought Key Brian Hayes did.
What did I think about what they did to the main character in Hail Mary? It's almost like you're saying there was like a big twist at the end, but I didn't see it that way, Michael Antonio.
I did not, because Syracuse, did I go to the aircraft carrier game? No, I was at home doing the Louisville football game. I do football over basketball.
Yeah, Syracuse. That was a really good movie.
What did you think of the season finale of Dallas?
I don't even know what Dallas is.
It's a like a nighttime soap opera from the 80s.
Yeah, that and ER and Cheers, that a little before me.
When I was a kid, General Hospital was huge with like Luke and Laura. Like everybody was talking about General Hospital. People had
That's what I was thinking of, General Hospital. Yeah. That's the one with Clooney, right?
No.
Oh, is that ER?
Yeah,
I was
had
right.
General Hospital like lunch boxes when I was a kid. I watched The Guiding Light because that's what my mom watched. Now she's dead. Thanks for reminding me.
Did you get this one ready?
George Clooney was on.
Oh, you're screwed. You blew it. Wow.
George Clooney was also on Facts of Life. Ooh, Sunglasses at Night. Corey Hart. Also did Never Surrender. Very 80s. We were just talking 80s
TV shows.
Yeah, 80s, basically soap operas. Like General Hospital was huge in the 80s. Like there's this Luke and Laura wedding, and I was just boring you with it. I don't even know what it was, but it was just like that's what everybody talked about. There was like parody songs, morning shows, did stuff on it. It was weird.
Top 5 TV shows for you.
What
comes to mind? Yeah, just rattle off some of your favorites.
My favorites, number 1 is Cheers.
Okay.
Number 2 is going to be a weird one for people. The Greatest American Hero. I think it only ran like 2 years. It's just the funniest concept for a TV show I think I've ever seen. And I can't believe they haven't made a movie or anything out of it now that like technology is better. He is delivered a super suit from aliens and he loses the instructions. And it's really funny. It's a great.
That's good. That's a good plot.
Yeah. So there's that. Okay, number 3, I'd probably go Seinfeld. 4, Different Strokes, because I grew up on that. And 5, I don't know if this is popular with people, but Wings was a sitcom from.
Never heard of it.
It's funny. It was really funny. How about you? Go.
I would say Entourage is probably my favorite TV show. That's just great to watch back, and if I have nothing to do, I find that I've watched that back too many times. Game of Thrones is definitely in the top 5. Trying to think what else. I mean, it's all like the classic. Like I really like The Wire. Breaking Bad is an all-time show for good reason. Current shows right now, I've been watching Your Friends and Neighbors. It's been pretty good. It's on Apple TV. John Hamm's in that. But yeah, I feel like I would just say a lot of the classics, and then Entourage is probably my number 1.
I loved all sitcoms. Yeah, people are agreeing with me on Wings. Sopranos, like if I had to go.
Succession, someone drops.
If I had to go, like one show that I watched that wasn't a sitcom, Sopranos is probably.
So, this is a hot take. I just couldn't really get all the way in on the Sopranos. I don't know. I like a lot of shows that are like that, and everyone I know is like, you're going to love The Sopranos. I was very confident I was going to get hooked on it, and I tried, and I wasn't that hooked, honestly.
Shout out to West Hill grad and a schoolmate of mine, Andy DeVoli, was in Sopranos.
Which character?
He's just a random guy.
Okay.
He's in like 3 episodes. He gets whacked.
That's kind of awesome.
That is. Like, if you're gonna be if you're gonna be in the Sopranos, you might as well get whacked.
Friday Night Lights. That's the TV show. I really enjoyed that. I don't know if it's top 5, but it's definitely up there. I've watched that all the way through, probably twice, honestly.
It's not a laughing matter.
The Knicks. They're back.
No, they're serious. You know what? I get killed for not being a typical sports fan. I am legitimately happy for Knicks fans. They deserve this.
Yeah.
It's been a brutal run for them. They got close with Ewing, but Jordan was always in their way. The Rockets were good. They didn't get it. It would be good to see them. If they can get over the hump, it would take a miracle, I think, for them to beat either one of the next 2 teams.
I don't know if it would take a miracle at this point, the way they're playing. They've won 11 straight games.
Against the Sixers and
the Cavs.
Yeah.
I understand that all along we've thought the winner of the West, the Thunder, Spurs, they're going to win it. But, we had Noah Eagle on a couple weeks ago, and he brought up the point that that's what everyone thought last year, and then the Pacers were right in that series. If not for the Halliburton injury, they might have won that series. What the Knicks are doing, and we were joking about Kenny Atkinson saying that the Cavs have analytically been ahead in the series when they were down 3-0 before they got completely smoked again in Game 4. The Knicks have won 11 straight games, and 10 of the 11 have been by more than double figures or in double figures. So they're smoking teams. I mean, there's something to it that they have been playing like way better than we thought.
Miss.
No, none of these guys miss. Like Landry Shamet was 11 for 12 from 3 in the series. That's crazy.
L.A. Orange says, I thought you don't have a rooting interest in other teams because you're a man. I don't. I am a man. I said I was happy for New York Knicks fans. I don't care if they win or not. I'm happy New York Knicks fans get to enjoy this. It's been a long ass time. 99?
If Steve was a Knicks fan, would you be happy? Because you're not happy for the Bills fans.
No, I would have to hate that for him.
Yeah.
I would have to be his nemesis.
I'm not saying the Knicks are going to win the series or certainly they're not going to be favored. And I think you would make a lot of money if you bet the Knicks to win the NBA Finals going into the start of the series. And I'm sure that they will be pretty decent underdogs. But the Thunder and Spurs do have some injury concerns. And I don't know, it'll be the rest versus rust discussion because the Knicks will be off for probably 8 days, I think it'll end up being. And we saw the Hurricanes in the NHL. They were off for a record amount of time. They came out and lost Game 1. Since then, they've won back-to-back games in overtime, so they lead that series 2-1 in the NHL side of things. I think the Knicks could stretch it to a 6-game series. I would be very surprised if they got swept.
I'll say 5.
5?
Yeah, either one.
Gentleman's sweep?
Yeah, either that or, I think they could win a game against the Spurs. OKC, I could see them getting swept by. But what do I know? What the hell do I know? I hear that from listeners every day. What the hell does this guy know? He's an idiot.
Yet you're still here. You're still standing.
Yeah. Let's take a time out. We'll come back with today's business. We just drove into the second hour. Brought to you by Burdick BMW of Cicero and Burdick Toyota.
That is why you're still standing right there.
Yeah,
your ability to get paid. Get our sponsors involved.
Right. God bless our sponsors. It's ESPN Radio Syracuse, Utica, Rome, and QSportsTalk.com. Is Paul doing today's business?
Yes.
Oh, sweet.
Tons of Paul talk.
Remind me not to say I'm going to fire him.
That would only be the 80th time you've said that.
It will kill the morale. The morale in our office. I'll fire you right now if you don't do good.
Well, you talk about the salaries. Yeah. If we get a caller, which you probably won't, but.
Stefan called in at the start of the show to talk next.
You don't tell Stefan to call back.
You could have put him on.
No, you were.
Who do you think, Steph? Who you are?
He was having a good.
Yeah, I don't care. Listeners always take precedence, and Stefan takes. He takes precedence over everybody.
I don't think so.
You just say, "Shut up, Tim." Stefan has to speak about the Knicks.
I don't think Stefan's ever listened. Tim, can you name a character on Hello Kitty other than Hello Kitty?
No.
Okay.
Have I watched Hello Kitty?
I haven't either. But
No.
Are there other characters in Hello Kitty?
Yeah.
I was just because earlier I asked Paul.
Paul, you don't tell Stefan to call back. That is correct. No, you don't. Yeah. I will fire you for Stefan.
You better do it how Stefan talks, though.
Spatch and Louise once.
I have to start it with well, hello, Paul. You're fired. You can't do that. Like, yeah, that's the only way you can get yourself into character, by saying, well, hello.
Yeah, you could do.
Spatch and Louise wants to know.
Whatever your heart desires.
Velcro, good question. F, Mary, kill, Steve, Paul, Tim.
And if you mess it up, you're fired.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
I'll marry Tim.
Oh.
You're not good. Just. You don't have to do this. I don't want to hear you say I'm going to F any of us.
Outside of that, can I kill you and Steve?
No, you got to F one of them. I think I'd rather be killed than to live with that.
I'm good with marrying Tim.
That's a good one. Would you rather Paul shoot you or?
I think I'd rather read a.
Can I choose how they kill me? Yeah.
Crying.
Hello,
I would have
HR.
spent my whole life would be just be in the shower and cry. Oh yeah, marry Steve for his money. I'm dead. I'm as good as dead.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, Tim, you don't have as much money as Steve.
No one does. I mean, God.
Good, I get killed.
I just get a kid.
That's one of the few situations where being killed is the prize.
I'm not effing Tim. Tim, you're dying.
So someone's got to get it. Someone's going to win that game. Steve did one too many push-ups this weekend.
He twisted his neck to the right too quickly.
No,
He's
he
out.
has he's emceeing some event today.
Yeah.
In the Strait of Hormuz.
Did you guys ever do the 52 however many push-ups?
No.
Do that.
How many push-ups did he say? Was I not here?
I don't know, but no, I don't remember what he said.
He said I think he could do 30 in one set.
I could not do that, and I do them regularly, and I could not do 30 in one.
Chat, is that right?
He's actually demining the Strait of Hormuz. They've got him tied to a boat, and he's got his arms out.
On assignment.
You have to gas prices drop. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, she's like 680 something base.
Ow. Word up. Cameo, another good 80s song.
This is a great song. Good bump back, too.
Down. Let him cook. Let Cameo cook. All right, today's business, Paul. Who brings it to us?
Superior Plus.
Oh, for God's sake.
There goes the perfect game. I even tried to help you.
It's gone.
The mic wasn't up for anyone that's
It's gone,
confused.
Paul.
I was doing the world a favor, though, technically.
Well, I couldn't hear the bump back. So.
No. It's because we're doing regular share. How's this, guys?
The chat couldn't hear the bump back that entire time.
No,
That's at least a double.
They
You
could.
just gave, yeah.
They could in
To be
other.
fair, we haven't heard the bump back out there since maybe 12:30.
Okay, so
Jeez.
So
game over. I'm getting yanked. All right.
There were a couple solo homers in there. Going to the bullpen.
Might be getting sent to AAA. I mean,
Good. I
this
wish
was
I
a
was.
game you basically were given the Rockies
Tim,
today.
Tim, can you step in, please, for him? Actually,
yeah. You were playing against the Rockies at like a very pitcher-friendly park, and you still get shelled.
You're all perfect.
Brought to you by Superior Plus Propane. So the salaries for some of the coaches for Syracuse Athletics were released. I guess through tax purposes, people were able to get them. Fran Brown at $3.1 million, 62nd in the country last year.
If his salary. This is all 2024 salaries.
2024 salary. So it'd be for 2025. It would be the 62nd ranked. Am I getting that right? Or would it be?
Yeah, I think there was. So Syracuse.com released this article. In the article, they said that if Fran Brown made $3.1 million in 2025, there was a full list of coaches' salaries in 2025. It would slot in about 62nd in the country.
And then Adrian Autry, $2.2 million. That was up from $1.8 in 2023. Kent Severud, $1.85.
Do we have where Adrian Autry's salary ranked?
No, but it's not. Yeah,
that can't be high up, honestly.
I could probably find that for you, or at least do some digging.
I have to admit, I feel like that would maybe be somewhere in the 70s to 80s for college basketball, somewhere in there.
I mean, it's easy to say, oh my gosh, Coach Autry was making how much money? But the better way to frame this is, where do they rank in the country? How much is Syracuse spending?
How much are they spending on coaches? I mean, their defensive coordinator was $1.58 million, Elijah Robinson.
That seems good.
So
that seems like something that Syracuse lacked in the past, was paying their coordinators.
Yeah.
And that's gone up.
He still left though. Still couldn't retain, fired, whatever they want to say.
Yeah.
Still couldn't. I mean, he probably got a nice little pay raise because he was making $1.2 million as a defensive line coach in the SEC. Shows you how much money they got in the SEC is a bit nuts. But yeah, I mean, I feel like people are like you said, people are going to lose their minds at the money here that's being paid. But I think it's really important where it ranks amongst other coaches, and then you see where, like, how is a coach next to Autry doing compared to what he was doing at his time.
Yeah, Coach Jack her base salary was in the high 600,000s, and then the year that we were Syracuse.com was able to find the tax filings and everything here is 2024. They had a very good year, so she got bonuses presumably for winning NCAA tournament game or something like that. $220,000 in bonuses brought her salary in the year of 2024 to about $990,000. That's for Coach Jack. Mike Haney, before he was named chancellor, at about $1 million.
Yeah. So
2.2 would have put him at 67th.
Okay.
So similar to Fran Brown.
Yeah, right around there.
67th, right behind Damon Stottlemyre at 2.3, and behind Steve Forbes.
The other thing is,
John Shire only makes 2.3.
Well, the other thing is, I don't think any private schools are on there, right? Like Syracuse isn't on there because they're private.
Yeah.
So it might be more.
Actually, it has red on there from the year before at 71 at 1.8.
Okay, yeah.
So, but I mean, he's still behind every coach of the ACC. Basically, he was behind Florida State. He was behind Georgia Tech, Wake, Duke, BC. You know, in BC's 63rd, and that's ahead. Like Earl Grant was making more than John Shire.
Yeah, how much? You said 2.3.
Yeah.
So we were paying Coach Autry $100,000 less.
Will Wade was making 2.5.
It must be in the year 2023.
Yeah.
Now, I do think bonuses factor in quite a bit.
Mike Young making $3 million at Virginia Tech.
I guess that checks out with how much Franklin's going to
Micah Shrewsbury's making 3.2 at Notre Dame at 45. I'm going up a little. Pat Kelsey at 3.3.
That's probably gone up, or
that's probably
feels low.
Hubert Davis is making 3.8.
I mean, Pat Kelsey's paying 2 players to make 4.5 or thereabouts.
Brad Brownell making 4.
Is there a chance Pat Kelsey's paying somebody more than what he's getting paid?
Yes, it's absolutely.
I know, but like if you're a coach at that point, like what are you gonna do if a player tells you to F off?
Fran Brown did make the comment about, gosh, why am I blanking? Who was the wide receiver that left? Pena. Thank you. Yeah, Trevor Pena. He said, he wanted to be making what assistant coaches are making. That's not going to happen. Which it does happen at other schools. I mean, that's the reality of the situation is Syracuse is on the low scale in terms of what they're paying their head coaches, in terms of what the expectation is from the fan base. They probably want Syracuse to be a top 25 team in football and basketball and year in and year out, and they have been at one point, and they're paying their coaches more in like the 60 to 70 range, it seems like.
Are you surprised that Brad Brownell is the highest paid coach in the ACC?
A little bit, but also I think he has had some very good years there, and he must have gotten an extension when he was in consideration for other jobs, or, for years he was on the hot seat, and I think he's a great example of sticking it out with one coach, and if you've got the right guy, and even if you aren't getting wins, that doesn't mean you're a bad coach.
They do not have Andy Enfield's
he's got to be making a lot.
Listed, or Lucas at Florida. I would assume those were. I would say Adrian Autry was the lowest paid coach in the ACC, without question.
Oh, Florida State, you're saying, yeah.
Miami and SMU are not listed.
They got to be. SMU's got to be higher.
Luke Lux was making more than Red
in his first year.
Yeah.
Is that on there?
Yeah,
he was. This is 2023, I thought.
No, this is two. This is what two. This was not this year, the year before. But I would assume they all stayed the same, right?
Oh yeah, sure. What are you seeing? What list are you going through right now?
I am going through USA Today's list of head coaches' basketball salaries. It was actually released April 8th, 2026.
And so how much was Laux making?
Laux was making. Now I got to go back down. He was making 2.65.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's not far off. Yeah, I mean, the salaries are only going to keep going up. I mean, I imagine Jerry is
I'm sure he got more.
Autry, that's for sure.
I wouldn't guarantee that.
I wouldn't guarantee it either.
I don't know that that's the case. I would assume it's very
Well, do you
similar.
think maybe like Georgia Tech then's paying, I forget who they...
Scott Cross?
Yeah, do you think they're paying him less than Stoudemire?
Well, it's funny because remember at St. Bonaventure, there was a tweet and Woj was sort of like getting the message out there probably that they were going to cut back their head coach's salary and follow the industry trend of cutting the head coach's salary to have more. I don't think anyone has done that. That's not an industry trend, but I don't know. I mean, it's just, we would never know the answer to these questions. Yeah.
The buyouts are disgusting.
Oh, the buyouts are gross.
Do you know how much, who do you think's the highest paid coach in college basketball?
Bill Self?
Yep. $8.8 million. His buyout's $23 million. He can get $800,000 more in bonuses. Dan Hurley was next at just about $8 million. He can get another 1.5 in bonuses.
I mean, that's gross. Well, Texas, is it Texas?
His buyout's $34 million.
I mean, LSU football, aren't they paying 2 buyouts right now that are...
Yeah.
Hurley's buyout is almost $12,000 more than, or $12 million more than Bill Self. It's a bonkers.
Well, I guess to look at UConn, they were competing with the Lakers reportedly when they signed him to that extension. Kansas was probably not really competing with an NBA team, especially like the Lakers.
Syracuse says, I bet Jerry's at 2.5. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. I do know. I mean, I think it was
it's
reported.
Going to be comparable to what Red was making.
I think it'll be around the same, but I think it'll be 100, 200 grand more.
Well, we know that they were after Josh Schertz, right? And I remember having the conversation during the coaching search that Josh Schertz was making more at St. Louis this past year than Adrian Autry made at Syracuse. That's like was reported and was out there.
Sounds like everybody was.
Yeah. And I think that's the part of the problem in terms of getting a coach like a Josh Schertz is they would have had to double and they still have to pay off Red here. So, and I think Dino's contract is, I don't know. I mean, but there was a buyout there for Dino and they're paying Fran's salary.
It does not have Red's buyout because I'm sure that's not public knowledge with it being a private school. So
yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. And that's probably is that 2 years?
Are there 2 segments or am I doing a kicker?
You can do your kicker now, then we can come back with more today's business.
Oh, I had it.
I'm going to rant about your favorite topic, Paulie.
We could also take a break, and then you could get your kicker ready. It's just when you presented the kicker, I thought you were ready.
This is a mound visit.
had it.
We've already pulled him, Paul.
I was trying to.
Oh, okay. So here's the deal. This is probably a better thing for Steve.
We've already lost the game.
There's a rich lawyer in New York City who posted that she only flies coach when she's traveling with her kids because they need to learn
manners and
learn that not everybody is living the
Stephen Fonte life.
Yeah, living the good life, and she's catching some flack for it.
Why would she catch flack for this?
Why would you catch flack for this?
I don't know. Like, it's just, I don't know.
Are people that miserable?
And then some people were agreeing with her, but I get it. My parents definitely would not have allowed me in first class.
I like that idea. I think that's got to be one of the toughest things is being a parent when, only Steve can answer this, but when you're rich.
I guess you could see there's some idiots out there who'd be like, well, you're stealing a seat from somebody who would normally only be able to afford that. I don't know. It's a great idea. Teach your kids that not everyone is as lucky as you, and some people have to sit.
But I also get, though, like, if you've got the opportunity to do it. Like, if you've got, like, I don't have kids, so I don't know, but, like, it can't be easy traveling with kids. I saw my mom fly 7 of us across country a couple times, and it was not fun.
Why is she not up in first class and sticking the kids back in coach?
Because that's not a lesson either. Like, that makes your mom
worked
better.
hard.
Your mom.
I don't think the mom wants to just let her kids run rampant too.
Yeah, also imagine that plane going down and your kids are by themselves.
That's of course where your mind went. And that speaks to why you don't fly.
No, but like I flew all the time as a kid because my mom lived here and my dad lived in San Diego, and I would they would just throw you on the plane alone back then. The stewardess would walk you to the ramp. And then you had to go find your gate, kid. Oh,
yeah. Well, we don't know the age of the kids, but if she's flying with a 5-year-old kid, you almost need to be next to him. Like, what if he's like, I got to go to the bathroom?
I do think it actually is mandatory at that point.
Do they still do it? That I guarantee you, it's different flying as a kid now. Like when I was a kid, you would meet the stewardess at the gate. And they would walk you on the plane. And then when you got off, it was you got to get to the gate yourself. I would like O'Hare. And I was like, oh, my God. I'm like 12.
Fly alone at like 10, fly down to my grandmother's. And they would make my mom walk me to the gate and then let my grandmother meet me at the gate. Like that was what they said you had to do. And I was 10.
We had layovers at like O'Hare when you were flying from Syracuse to San Diego.
Yeah,
so I would just have to go by myself.
They probably stick someone with you at that point, like a stewardess.
Back in those days, it was a different world back then. Gen X lived a wild life. We were raised ourselves. We were in our 50s when we were 12.
You didn't live, Tim, if you didn't set ants on fire.
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah, you didn't live.
I guess not.
No.
All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I'll have another kicker for you after the next.
Great.
2 kicker day.
I got to upgrade that kicker.
We got to talk college football 2014 playoff, too. There was a good article in The Athletic breaking down how many appearances for every school in the Power Four if there was a 2014 playoff going back to 2014. Interesting stuff. We'll go over that after this.
Gage Jump's getting called up. I think he was a part of the Mason Miller trade.
Who?
Gage Jump, the pitcher.
Who the hell's Gage Jump?
Padres traded him to the Athletics. The Athletics are calling him up.
Athletics sneaky good.
Yeah, they are sneaky good. White Sox sneaky good. Nationals sneaky good. Nationals pitching not sneaky good.
Did you guys hear about what happened? I'll say my kicker.
Okay.
The softball game.
I do think the coaching salary stuff is another example of everyone's.
Between Arizona State and Texas.
No,
I didn't see that.
No. What were you saying? Sorry.
The coaching salary stuff is another example of like everyone that says, "Oh, they just got to pony up," and SU Athletics has all this money and they're holding it back. Like, Don't you think they would have ponied up for a football coach as much as possible? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
this is just more.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Any data out there when it comes to resources or money that we have does not say Syracuse is near the top of the ACC. So.
Ryan Mullen brings up smoking on planes. So, yeah, people used to smoke on the planes.
My grandfather would talk.
They'd turn off the non-smoke.
He'd get up and
when
walk
I first
around
started
and
in
smoke
radio,
on a
I
plane.
would smoke in the studio while I was DJing.
Really?
Yeah. There's an ashtray right there. I'd be like, that was Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, I was going to do that. Here's a word up.
95X, turn it up.
You should do that one day this summer, a little throwback. Steve just sits
light
here.
up a cigarette.
When I was 14, 15, did you pay your local wino to buy you and your friends beer?
No. We used to write. So we had a little market down the street from our house, and we would write a fake note that said, "My son needs to buy me a beer and cigarettes," and it would work. Like you would hand it to him, and it would work.
I love that. It's on YouTube. It was like a news segment when I think they banned drinking and driving, and all those people are like, first they take away the beer, now they're making me buckle, or first they're making us buckle, now they're taking away the beer. It's gonna be communism soon.
So like it would, like my mom would occasionally do that too. Like, please allow my son to buy Benson and Hedges, 100s.
Did you?
And I would get a pack of.
You had a
baseball
fake
cards.
ID, right? Like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was the guy who supplied fake IDs.
Did you
When I
ever
was
get
like-
it confiscated or caught?
Oh
or
yeah.
Where at? Do you remember?
Probably just threw
This
it out.
bar.
Where it was up on the hill. 40. What was 44s back then? Was it 44s?
Like at SU Hill or
Yeah.
Have you ever driven around with Paulie in Syracuse? He's got a
not
story
really.
for every building. You drive by, he's like, well, right there, that, right there, that.
It's kind of what every Syracuse person has, though.
But like
I used to be.
I lived
like,
where every
I was
circle
known at
was.
every bar.
I find that,
in my early 20s and 30s, like everybody, people like knew me in bars.
Yeah.
People knew me more as being the guy in the bar than being a radio DJ.
I feel like in Syracuse, every building has been like restaurant buildings. You're like, oh yeah, that used to be this. Then it was this. Like it's changed owners or changed names like 5 times. I feel like most restaurant buildings in here. I don't know.
Well, what's the one bar you would?
Tucker's.
That's gone. Okay.
Tucker's was the bar I would go to all the time, in the jukebox. But I was like Tucker's. I was a regular. Ooh, Paperboy the Ditty. That's a good one too. Speaking of my bar days, this was a big song at the country club. Paperboy the Ditty. I might have to play this as the one hit wonder of the day on Sunny 102. What else you got in today's business for us, Paul?
We got the
it's
20.
brought to you by
Superior Plus Propane. That's true. We do got to get it in there again.
Oh, they get a double
They
sponsorship.
get a double. Superior Plus Propane. Say it again. We got Greg Sankey on the 24-team playoff, saying, I'm not an opponent of 24 or 28. We have to inform the decision-making. I think we did a good job of informing our position last year on 16. We'll consider other ideas, certainly this week and moving forward. He added, I've never thought football was a tournament sport.
Yeah, the SEC meetings happening, and Greg Sankey, SEC commissioner, has been the one sort of holdout to this point, one conference that has not been for the 24-team playoff. Brett McMurphy, a college football reporter, said that he interviewed or asked 14 SEC athletic directors where their stance is right now. Anonymously, 9 of the 14 are in favor of a 24-team playoff. But the official word from Greg Sankey is that's not going to be something we're going to handle at the meetings. We've got until December 1 to make that decision. We've got other things to figure out. So they're almost kicking the can down the road, but it does feel like we're heading towards a 24-team playoff.
Boom.
I like the 4-team. I know I'm in the minority with that.
I like 2.
The BCS?
I liked when you just had number 1 versus number 2.
I did like the build-up back in the day of the BCS. Now, the game was a bit, but like the build-up.
It also made the bowl games more, like it made, like, I get being in the playoff is exciting, but it just made the bowl games more fun.
True, the Rose Bowl was something back then. Now it's just kind of a throw-in.
It's a play-in,
like.
yeah. Unless you've got the national championship game on your sponsorship.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of weird because at Syracuse, in a way, we maybe should be rooting for a 24-team playoff because, Syracuse probably is not going to make a current 12-team playoff.
Do you think making the Final Four will be a thing now, too? And like the Final Four will be in all sports?
They'll put banners up and all that for that?
I mean, there's only 8 teams. If you go back to 2014, like the Athletic did, and you just take who's in the top 24 in the rankings, only 8 Power 4 teams would have had 0 college football playoff appearances in the last 12 years. Rutgers, Maryland, Purdue, and Nebraska out of the Big Ten. That's 4. 1 team out of the Big 12, Kansas. Out of the ACC, just Duke, Cal, and BC. And every single SEC team would have gotten in a 24-team playoff at least once if you started it in 2014. 80 different teams would have made it by now.
It's nuts that Duke still wouldn't make it after winning the ACC.
Yeah.
But how long is this? Like, this is a lot of football. How long would the season
Well, they're just going to have to start it earlier.
Yeah, they're going to cut the conference championship games.
Completely cut
it would
that out.
start that weekend, and then it would basically be the same format from there.
Would people
you could start the season mid-August, 2 weeks early.
Yeah,
and
I think we're getting there for sure, where week 0 is going to be more like week 1, and they'll move it up.
Is then a player, so, you always have potential high first-round draft picks sit out. Are they going to sit out the entirety of the tournament now? Or, like, how would...
No, I think the idea is that if you're in the playoff, then no one's going to sit out a game versus if you were in the 12th best bowl game and you missed the playoff.
Also, they're getting paid now. If you sit out, they should be able to
take your money. Yeah, I don't know. I just like the 4 because 5 may have got screwed, 6 arguably. But I remember last year, people were talking more about 13, 14, and 15 more than they were talking about 1 through 12.
Yeah, I thought we were heading for 16, and the SEC is in favor of 16 teams, but they're not in favor of 24 right now. 16 would be fine to me. I think that might be kind of like you shrug your shoulders. If they want to do that, I get it. 12, I think, is a pretty good number, though. And I get the argument that Notre Dame missed it. Notre Dame could have won it all. Miami just made it. They were in the championship game. But 24 teams, I just don't think any of these games are going to be entertaining in the first round.
No.
And the idea that Utah would have made 8 college football playoff appearances in the last 12 years, NC State would have made it 5 times in the last 12 years. NC State has never played for an ACC championship or in an ACC championship game in football in their history. And you're saying they would be a 5-time college football playoff member or whatever?
It turns into a participation trophy, I feel like. Oh, hey, congrats. Also, if you're the 25th team, are we going to change the rankings to 1 through 24? Because if you're the 25th team, who cares? You might as well be the 26th.
I would venture to say that our chat is now just rattling off old bars. And I'm sure our radio listeners are not privy to that. But, yeah, we were talking about old bars we used to go to, or I used to go to. And I would go to Tucker's, and people are just bouncing. Lost Horizon, that's still open.
I think I've
Mully's
seen that,
is still open. Phantom Club not. I don't even know where Phantom Club used to be right now. I don't even know if that's still a bar. Corner Bar is still there. Al's is still there. The Alpine no longer. But yeah, there's a lot of fun bars back in the day. Syracuse used to have the most bars per square mile on their campus back in the day. It used to be the number 1 party school in the country.
Yeah.
According to Playboy.
On Barstool.
And
Barstool
you went to all the
that.
bars, I'm sure, Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the
I
day.
didn't discriminate. I love bars.
I think Maryland has a bar on its campus nowadays, I want to say.
Wait. Say that
The
again?
University of Maryland has a bar on campus, I want to say. Because I had a friend who went there. And
I'm surprised. Why is that surprising?
I don't know.
Doesn't Syracuse technically have bars on campus?
Yeah, but I mean, like, in the middle of their camp, like, where, like, the quad is. Maryland has a bar. is what I'm saying.
USA Sam's I did not get to because I'm not that old. Didn't that turn into the country club?
Yeah, I missed out on both of those.
Someone's asking where Tucker's was on the corner. It was on Genesee Street. I don't know what the name of that road is, but it leads to the Little Gem Diner. It's on the corner of Genesee, and then that. So it was on West Genesee Street, across from a funeral home. They had a sign in there that said, "Come on in, have a seat. You're better off here than across the street."
So 2014 playoff, not good.
We're just reminiscing about live and local radio. This is good. This is good.
Are you for or against? So you don't want 24 teams?
I hate it.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Your second kicker of the day, Kevin Brown, local Syracuse kid, was calling the Texas
kid.
Yeah.
He's a kid to me. Arizona State.
Yeah.
You're a kid to me, for God's sake.
I get it.
While broadcasting the game, somebody found his crowd mic.
Oh, I did hear this. Yes.
And a man said something explicit in it, and he didn't skip a beat. Good for him. He just kept going. Can't air it, but yeah, somebody found a crowd mic and decided to whisper in something completely inappropriate in it.
He's a pro's pro, Kevin Brown.
There was a similar story. Actually, two stories come to mind with Syracuse lacrosse recently. We're calling the game when they won the quarterfinal, and I was like, oh, Joey's doing the TV interview, and you could pick it up a little bit through what we call the effects mic. You probably will know. So I turned it up, and that's when Joey dropped an F-bomb. And I was like, all right, so we're going to turn Joey down.
Sometimes on the foul line, too, someone will get somebody else.
Well, the other one was the effects mic, we call it, which is like the whistles and the mic from the goal, was very good at the Final Four. You could hear the goalie a lot, like, say, like top center, low right, basically like barking out instructions. There's a shot in the Syracuse Notre Dame game that was incorrectly called a shot clock reset, and they said the goalie touched the ball, Thomas Ricciardelli for Notre Dame. And you can hear him immediately turn to the referee. And on our radio broadcast, and I'm sure it went on the TV broadcast, he's just like, I didn't effing touch it or something like that.
That happens.
Yeah.
That happens like with the players and the coach. This is a dude.
This is some college kid drunk.
In a like sultry voice saying this right here. Go ahead and read that.
Yeah, you want to read that first, Tim?
I can't see it. Why don't you read it, Paulie? You said the other day.
I can't read it out loud.
You're the one guy that can read this stuff.
Somebody to use. He was.
Yeah. You see why you can't.
I don't even know how to.
Yeah.
Lick my blah blah blah.
Well, you can fill in the. I mean, I remember there were a couple times during the women's basketball season where Coach Jack would just go nuts.
Yeah, that's different.
We'd go to break. Tim would go, "You hear all that?" And I'm like, loud and clear.
Basketball games like. The refs know Coach Sadlin and Matt, and they'll walk up and like pick up the crowd and go, "Is this on?" Stuff like that. But
the funny thing too with the goalie dropping an F-bomb, Kyle I think said something on air like, "Oh, the mouth on Kevin Corrigan." So then I had to correct it and be like, "That was not the head coach, but it was a Notre Dame player."
But this was just some drunk fan. It is. I do wonder why they sometimes just put mics in the crowd, especially at college games,
but you've got to be looking at a baseball game for the mic to do that.
Yeah,
but there might be people who seek that out.
No, because it's not like it happens all the time. You've got to know. It could have been somebody that worked at the stadium or something, but I don't know. Grow up, America.
I wonder what the Padres announcers would have done. They would have lost it.
We'll take a time out. We'll come back. We'll wrap this mess up on ESPN Radio, Syracuse, Utica, Roma, QSportsTalk.com.
Orsillo was the Red Sox guy when I've sent Paulie the boob grab.
Orsillo was also the Red Sox guy when the fan threw the piece of pizza.
Yeah, the pizza. Yeah.
Man, that Red Sox clip.
The Padres announcers are calling the game from the bleachers tonight.
Oh, okay. I'm watching that. I'm going to have that broadcast on.
Aaron Solomon wants to come on and talk Brian Flores, Supreme Court.
You've been keeping up with that?
I have not.
It's the He's suing a bunch of teams for the Rooney Rule. He's saying like the Giants, for example, just brought him in to fill the quota. They weren't actually considering him after the Dolphins fired him. So,
how can you prove that?
I don't know. They're gonna try. Oh man.
No fire gate calls today. Maybe they'll call into my show.
I mean, it's a special sort of dumb. I almost posted, I said, Tim says you're an idiot if you want Gary Gate fired. That was almost the
clip.
Yeah.
I never used the word idiot. I don't. Idiot's a little strong.
Well,
I hope I didn't use the word.
No, you didn't.
Would I say it's nonsense? I mean,
yeah, it's all the above. Like, it was last week or 2 weeks ago when he came in. I looked out the window for Gomez, and it's like, oh, there's the world's greatest lacrosse player just wandering around downtown at like 7:30 in the morning because he's trying to flag one of us down to let him in.
The problem with Gary, it's not really his problem, but he's the most calm guy I think I've ever been around. So when they're losing, and you notice ESPN loves the bad play happens, cut right to the head coach.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Corrigan, all game yesterday, they were just cutting to him, and he's losing his mind. And then you juxtapose that with Syracuse's head coach, Gary. He has that, like, stare because he's just calm all the time, and it creates the idea that, like, he's in over his head.
Doesn't
People
care.
think, that he's just, like, lost, but that's kind of just... He's
him.
a calm demeanor on the sideline.
I don't think I've ever heard him like louder, even on like the coaches shows with you. I don't think he ever gets like animated, but that's just him.
I joked with my friends before the Final Four game. I was like, do you think his heart rate will get to 90 today? Like, he just doesn't ever. He's very neutral, very calm.
Another crowd mic thing we had. I had a player once sit on the crowd mic during pregame show and just heard, Matt had to go, oh, we'd like to thank, that's just John Bolajock for sitting on the crowd mic.
That's pretty good. Yeah, apparently Kenny Atkinson is on the hot seat. That's a lot of insiders.
I wish you were on the hot seat. You are, actually.
I'm not really trying to sell you on his 1,000-yard stare. I'm just saying that that's his demeanor. You could critique him for it.
There is no selling it. That's who he is. He's not going to change.
I'm just saying that, like, if you cut to him after a goal, he would have the same stare, and he would look the same to me.
Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing. That's a great movie. Radio Raheem.
One of my professors at Syracuse was his editor for a long time.
White Men Can't Jump. Was that him also?
Yeah.
Is that a Spike Lee joint?
She edited that one.
Mm-hmm.
What? Quit to give up Cavaliers. Verb. Oh, okay. I thought that was like Sports Center putting that up. That's why I was shocked. It was inside the NBA. Now I get it.
Did I ever hear about the infamous Halloween parties on East Carolina's campus? No more than a normal college Halloween party. I know ECU is a big party school, though. A lot of my friends went there.
You never went down there?
I've been to the campus, but never during Halloween.
Oh, I don't have to do that stupid WSFire Plus show today.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
You and David.
Moral victory. These bumps are better than our...
Yeah, maybe we should just ditch Artist of the Day. You got a lot of different bumps, too. How many do you think you have it here that rotates?
Lots.
That's not very specific.
I don't know. I have a lot.
How long until you repeat one, you think?
A while.
That's
Lots.
also not very
I don't
specific.
know. Like, I'm just trying to help here, guys. I don't know. Just playing along. Everybody.
What do you know?
All right. Tomorrow will be Luke Combs, and it'll be Steve's pick for the 7 best Luke Combs songs because we've already done his 7 best Billboard chart songs.
Okay. That was
All right,
Buddy Boeheim's pick.
Yeah, Buddy Boeheim's request. Everybody's out here warming up for basketball to Luke Combs now. It's not
I
like
don't know
when I
if
was
that's
a kid.
Buddy literally said since it's summer, I'm going to say Luke Combs. That's a summery vibe.
I don't know. These damn kids and their Luke Combs.
Well, walk around next year at games. Ask them what they're listening to while they're warming up.
I know what they're listening to. I hear it during before the warm ups, right? When they're shooting around, they got one of them their Bluetooth speakers, as the kids call them, and they listen.
Think they're listening to Tusi? Could have been their teammate.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Remember that point or that stretch
is
of
he
our
at
year?
LSU now?
Yeah, he's number 2 at LSU, by the way.
Number 2, that's his number?
Yeah, he's wearing the number 2.
I thought he was number 2 on the depth chart.
No, but he did have a one-handed catch. That went viral. But that's really all I've seen.
It was just like Odell Beckham.
It was,
I'm sure.
dude, it was
striking
better.
resemblance. Yeah.
He can't keep number 2.
This show is over. Thank God.
Drive time at 5 if you want to call in and talk lacrosse. Give me a call. 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
What's the phone number?
It's 437-7644.
All right, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we'll go over more bars.